Sarah Silverman's politics have come home to roost. See, this is a story about how Sarah Silverman was fired from a film after a photo of her in blackface surfaced. It was a sketch she did. It was comedy. It was meant to be offensive to poke fun at racism itself. Now here's the thing. Some might look at this and say, oh, that offensive joke is coming home to roost. No. This is her politics, okay? Now, for those that don't understand what that means, just in the off chance, come home to roost means your past actions are coming back to cause damage to you. The joke was fine, especially at the time. It helped her career. What's not fine is cancel culture, of which she participates. Sort of. She gets it. She's not particularly politically correct, but she still plays this left-wing game and this outrage culture just the same. And no, she has learned nothing from any of this. And I'm going to show you why. We're going to read through what she has to say about getting fired over this sketch from 2007, and then I'm going to show you that she actually hasn't learned a damn thing. So before we get started, make sure you head over to timcast.com/donate if you'd like to support my work. There's a PayPal option, there's a crypto option, a physical address you can send stuff to, but the most important thing you can do, share this video. I'll also mention that a lot of people don't know I have two channels. I have another channel, youtube.com/timcast. That's the main channel, that's the big one. And apparently a lot of people don't know it exists, so subscribe there if you haven't. But let's read the news. The comedian says she was let go from a movie project after producers became aware of a 2007 comedy sketch in which she wore blackface. Well, isn't it so funny that these people, these celebrities who feign this left-wing activism, have this sordid past, and then there are certainly people on the right who have sordid pasts as well. But the point is, how come they're going to point the finger at me? It's like, I've never done anything like this. And I still recognize why she did the joke, right? But let's read. They say, Sarah Silverman has said she was recently fired from a film after producers unearthed a still of her in 2007 wearing blackface for a comedy sketch. Guesting on the Bill Simmons podcast, Silverman said that she was let go the day before shooting on her scenes was due to start because of the photo taken on the set of the Sarah Silverman show. Quote, I recently was going to do a movie, a sweet part, she said. Then at 11 p.m. the night before, they fired me because they saw a picture of me in blackface from that episode. I didn't fight it. They hired someone else who is wonderful, but who has never stuck their neck out. It was so disheartening. It made me real sad because I really kind of devoted my life to making it right. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. And no, you didn't. And I'm going to show you, for those watching, these are empty platitudes. This is her going, oh no, now I'm getting canceled? Oh, geez. Silverman did not name the film, but discussed cancel culture, with Simmons saying that the current climate had left her feeling fearful. I think it's really scary, and it's a very odd thing that's invaded the left primarily, and the right will mimic it. No, the right won't mimic it. The right is taking advantage of it. And that's what happened with James Gunn. The right's going, you want to play this game? We'll play it too. But not even necessarily for the most part, because you still have people on the right saying, you know what? I disagree with what you say, but I'll defend to the death your right to say it. And that used to be an American universal standard. It was a joke even that on Futurama, they have a guy who is all of the worst things, a polygamist and whatever. And everyone's like, oh, gross, and booing him. But he defends free speech. The point was, in America, no matter how awful you are, everyone agreed, well, at least you can say what you say. Not anymore. Now the left is playing this weird game, and they're eating their own. Because I assure you this, when you get rid of someone like Sarah Silverman over these old jokes, I assure you, her politics are going to hurt her. But actually, Sarah Silverman's a bad example. But let's say somebody, Louis C.K., people on the right will absolutely still go see his show, and so will moderates. The left is just hurting themselves, and they're telling people to stop supporting them by doing this. Let's read on. Adding that she dubs it righteousness porn. It's called virtue signaling, dude. It's like if you're not on board, if you say the wrong thing, if you had a tweet once, everyone is throwing the first stone, she continued. It's so odd. It's a perversion. It's really, look how righteous I am, and now I'm going to press refresh all day long to see how many likes I get in my righteousness. Yes, and you contribute to this every day, okay? I've never been a big fan of Sarah Silverman because I think her form of comedy is just shocking. She goes up, she says offensive things, and then gets a rise out of people. I don't find it funny. I didn't find the blackface thing funny, and I'm going to show you the next thing she's done, which I also don't find funny. But that's the point. She's allowed to do it. There are comedians who do this. I get it. People like it. Hey, man, I get it. Let's read on. Silverman has previously expressed mixed feelings concerning the sketch, telling GQ last month that at the time she was praised for the sketch, which enormously increased her profile. It was like, I'm playing a character and I know this is wrong, so I can say it. I'm clearly liberal. That was such liberal bubble stuff where I actually thought it was dealing with racism by using racism. Yes, making fun of people who are racist does deal with it. It does diminish the power. Mockery diminishes the power of an idea because people poke fun. They feel like it's weak and it's bad. That's the point of a lot of comedy, to weaken the concept. Let's read on. In 2015, she called it her most regrettable joke. Oh, and in 2015 she did. You're going to love this next part. Yet said criticism of the image was based on a lack of information. Quote, there's a still of me on Twitter in blackface, and it's totally out of context, and I tweeted it when Twitter was new, and the people who followed me watched that show, and it was from that show. Now it's forever there, and it's totally racist, out of context, and I regret that. In 2015, she called it her most regrettable joke. And then in 2016, Sarah Silverman dresses as Hitler on Conan, jokes Donald Trump comparisons. You learned nothing. You are full of it. It is lies. It is empty rhetoric. It means nothing. In 2015, she said, oh, I didn't mean to be so offensive. I know. What made her think that was a good idea? Now, let me say this. More power to her. By all means, make the joke. I get it. You're making fun of Trump. Good. America is founded with the First Amendment. The first. Free speech, free press, free religion, redress of grievances. You get the point. That free speech thing means what makes America great is the fact that you can shout from the high heavens, Orange man is bad. Awesome. I would not want to live in a country where you weren't allowed to do that. Now, I'm free to express my opinion that Sarah Silverman has no principles, and she's merely saying these things, in my opinion, because now her career is being damaged by it. But if you really cared about avoiding things that are potentially offensive, maybe you wouldn't go on Conan's show in 2016 dressed like Adolf Hitler. Now I'm going to get deranked and demonetized because I'm showing what Sarah Silverman did. I kid you not. What a ridiculous world we live in. I can't even talk about what Sarah Silverman did because now YouTube's going to flag and derank and demote this video. I guarantee it. So I'll say it one more time for those in the back. If you like this stuff, you got to share it. YouTube allows CNN, they allow Conan, they allow Sarah Silverman to do exactly this. The Hollywood Reporter talks about it just like this. And this is one of the problems I have with what she propagates. It's her ideology. She goes on Twitter all day screaming nonstop about Trump and children and all this far left rhetoric about what Trump is doing based on a lot of fake news. Look, I get it. You're allowed to criticize all of this stuff. But then she goes on Twitter and she's upset that she says a guy in Florida is going to get her killed. It's like, dude, welcome to the party that you helped create. You know, there are people on the right, for sure, who help perpetuate this. She's not entirely wrong. The right is going to mimic it. But it's not so much the right is mimicking it, this cancel culture, is that they're exploiting it. They know what you're doing, and they're laughing about it. You reap what you sow. Your politics have come home to roost. You could have pushed back on all of this. You could have said in 2015, I'm not going to apologize. Screw off. It was a joke. You could have done what so many do. I mean, Family Guy and South Park are still in the air somehow. But instead, you give in to the mob and you say, oh, it wasn't me. It was a silly joke. Oh, like, I'm going to believe you, dude. Like, come on, man. Are you kidding? And then there was this photo that went viral of these kids who were doing a Nazi salute. And then she repeated. And here's the thing, okay? This photo went viral of these kids in high school doing the Roman salute. And she issued a statement saying, you know, you think it's a joke. You think it's funny. You can't do this. And in that, she made another Holocaust joke. Now, here's the thing. I get it. It's comedy. She was making a point by using humor to bring some levity to a serious situation. That's the point of the joke. I'm not a big fan of this kind of humor, but I get it, and I'm not going to call for her to be banned or anything. In fact, I think it's ridiculous she was fired from a movie over that photo. However, how many times do we have to point out the hypocrisy of these left-wing activist celebrities who have created this culture? And let me tell you something else. I have recently spoken to some people who are fairly woke, right? Woke in the sense that they're intersectional feminists. And they privately expressed shock to me about how crazy things are getting. And I just got to say, look, I know you're going to have the far left saying, Tim's lying, it's not true. No, you know what? I don't care. You're wrong. It is true. there absolutely are people in private on the progressive left who are getting scared. And you can see it in Sarah Silverman's, in her own words. She says she is feeling fearful. She lost her job. She knows what's coming. And this photo is coming next. You thought the blackface was bad? Well, how about you dressing up like Hitler and going on national television thinking that's funny to some people? You know, a guy in the UK got arrested for making a gag video where he made his dog do a Roman salute. And I gotta tell you, this is several orders of magnitude worse. Quite literally you dressing up like Hitler. But you know what? I get Dankula's joke. He shouldn't have been charged and arrested, and that's in the UK, I get it. But here's the thing. The politics are bleeding over, and you will reap what you have sown. You are fearful now? Well, I'd be willing to bet a substantial sum of money that Sarah Silverman is sweating bullets all day and night about this photo. And perhaps that's why, Sarah, you should get off your high horse and start calling this out all day and every day like the rest of us in the rational space on the internet. Now, sure, there are crazy, wingnut individuals on the right who are on Twitter, and I see them from time to time, of course. But think about the high-profile individuals. Now, I will say this. I think one of the greatest things benefiting the right as of now is, in a sense, the censorship. Now, hear me out. While Google, I've got a big segment coming up from the main channel, proof of Google bias and censorship. It's official. I can prove it. You're going to see it. It's crazy. Okay, that's coming up at 4 p.m. YouTube.com/Timcast, my other channel. But here's the thing. When Twitter bans, fringe right-wing activists and personalities, that forces conservatives to clean up their act and try and look prim and proper, allowing their ideas to propagate and look more presentable. What do you think happens when you ban, say, Gavin McInnes, who many people think, has crossed the line? He did shoved the dildo up his ass on camera, like really weird stuff. He gets banned. Reza Aslan calls for the eradication of Trump supporters. He doesn't. What do you think a regular person thinks when they see that? Okay, well, the crazy guy on the right got banned, the crazy guy on the left isn't. They're going to look at the right, and they're going to see these suit-wearing conservatives who are saying, well, I harumphi say I disagree with your politics. And they're like, that seems pretty normal. And then they're going to see people like Reza Aslan and Sean King calling for the complete destruction of society and violence. And then they're going to notice it's people like Sarah Silverman who encourage this behavior, this fake news, and this rhetoric. But then she's scared of it. Well, maybe you should put up or shut up. You know what? I'm going to say this. You shouldn't have been fired from your movie. I think Sarah Silverman does a great job in voice acting. I watched Wreck-It Ralph 2 recently. I thought she was great as Vanellope or whatever the character. I think that's the name of the character. And in the first one, and I don't care. You can separate the art from the artist. I really don't care about Chris Evans and Mark Ruffalo being insufferable on Twitter. I like Avengers. Okay? I actually don't care too much about Brie Larson being insufferable. They all deserve criticism for it, and I've criticized Chris Evans. But I pointed out, at least the difference for Captain Marvel was the marketing play was the big issue for me. So, you know what? I'll say this. I'm not perfect. I try to be consistent as much as possible, but I know I'm not perfect, but I can say this. I will absolutely defend Sarah Silverman's right to do whatever she wants if it's in the course of telling a joke, even if it's offensive. And if people come out and get mad about it, then all that should really happen is the comedian should say, hey guys, I won't do it again. End of story. In fact, I don't even think that if they want to do it again, they can. And it's up to people to choose if they want to buy their product or not. But in the end, you have movie producers who say, I don't want to deal with this. Far left activists are a nightmare. It is an endless harassment campaign from these people. There is so much I've had to do to change my life because of the constant stream of harassment and threats I get from the far left. Now, admittedly, I've gotten some threats and some problems from the far right too, but so let me say this though. The only times I've ever had videos taken down, it was from the far right. But the incessant day-to-day harassment is the far left. So I'll say this. Maybe if people like Sarah Silverman stood up with the rest of us who are the moderate, rational, center-left, center-right, run-of-the-mill liberals and conservatives who are saying, we don't want this. We want sane, rational conversation and we get humor. Maybe if you stood up and stopped playing this ridiculous Orange Man bad game and shrieking at the top of your lungs, you wouldn't have lost your job. So you know what? She shouldn't have been fired. We shouldn't hold jokes against comedians. George Carlin today, man, I'd be surprised if, and he overtly uses racial slurs in his bits back in the 90s. He used them. And he made a point, and liberals laughed for it. And now there's this thing where they've changed. I had someone ask me recently, somebody I've known for a while say that I've changed, and it happened to they're like, something happened to you, and they named a few other people, like high-profile individuals, and I said, I gotta say, man, you're wrong. I'll tell you this. You can Google search interviews from me in 2011 talking about how the far left, the black bloc violence was bad, and we must resist it. And I'll tell you what's changed. It wasn't me. It was those activists down on the ground at Occupy Wall Street who supported me, who praised my work, and agreed with me. And something changed. I don't know when, I don't know why or how. But at some point, even though I've repeatedly condemned the far left black bloc violence, they're now shocked. Oh, what happened to Tim? No, I'm sorry. There's an interview from me in January 1st of 2012, where I straight out call out all of this the same as I always have. I have always been an anti-racist, anti-authoritarian, left-wing individual who has opposed racism across the board. It is now the left endorsing censorship, violence, and yes, racism. Shocked. I was shocked to see the ACLU supporting an overtly racist policy against Asians at Harvard. Mind blown. But what can I say? I didn't change. I still believe we should be judging people based on the content of their character and not the color of their skin. I still believe comedians can be offensive. I still recognize the importance of free speech, and I still recognize the danger of massive multinational corporations that are imposing their will on the American people. Where did the left go? Remember that? Remember when liberals were like, corporations are bad and we should make sure we restrict their power? Now they're like, corporations are good and should censor everybody. Remember when liberals had George Carlin saying the president I gotta avoid swearing. He would say a nasty thing about the president and then go on to make an offensive joke and say a racial slur, and we understood the point. Now the left has gone nuts. The left is no longer liberal, and we all know it. And as long as people like you, Sarah, stay with the left instead of holding liberal positions, of course you'll keep getting fired. And I'll tell you this right now, one last time, this photo is coming home to roost. You think you were fired just for that one photo? Wait until this one comes out. Wait until the next time you get a job, someone says, I don't know, dude, you dressed up like Hitler. Yeah, it's not going to work. And it's about time we bring back liberalism to the left. But if you don't want to, that's fine by me. The left is going nuts, and most of us in the middle, we know it. My friends who have always been moderates, have always been Democrats, are now sitting there scratching their head. Why was Sarah Silverman fired? It was a joke. Yup, too bad. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. Next segment coming up, youtube.com/timcast at 4 p.m. I am going to give you evidence that Google is extremely biased in favor of the left, and it is skewing everything that's happening. We're gonna do a deep dive on what is making the left go nuts. Stick around. I will see you in that segment. And yes, youtube.com/timcast, different channel.